You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Plan to Prosper podcast show. I am Dr. Sharon Campbell, your host for today. It is Wednesday at 6 p.m. and I'm going to tell you, if you're driving home, do the rewind. We don't want you to be driving and trying to listen to us at Facebook. So we want you to wait to get home and do the replay. We are still talking about building, reading, successful businesses and nonprofit. How reading is so very important, especially in this day and time, for our leaders to understand the importance of being able to look at the current information, data, research, and how to build your company or your nonprofit from that. And we look at it from this perspective. Reading can be fun. It can be boring, but it's necessary. And so, we get inundated, I know, with so much emails and looking on the Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all of that. But are we reading? Because scanning something and reading for something is two different things. And so we have dedicated this whole month of January to really help our audience become more engaged in the learning process, especially because of AI. Especially, did I say that? Because of AI. Because funders are able to know if you're reading behind AI and if you're making changes. So that's why it's so important to know that. So let us get started with the presentation tonight. It is why leaders who read build successful businesses and nonprofits, and why others do not. So think about it this way. When is the last time that you really read something for fun or for knowledge? And so we have several different components that we're going to really dive into. And so one is about your vision, how you grow your vision through learning. The other one is about leadership and how you can position yourself for growth and opportunity. And we have different pillars that we're going to review. So one of the pillars we're going to review is around how to use the guide. Let me see if we can get this a little larger for you. Okay, much better. So we're going to go back to the second slide. It's about core leadership reading categories, things you need to be reading in. So we're going to give you some core places that you need to read and things you can do. The third pillar, we're going to talk about faith, ethics, value, your value base in leadership, And I tell somebody this is so good. Financial literacy and sustainability, board governance, and this is for nonprofit and profit. Number 6, people, your culture, because we're in a diverse world, and your leadership, how to work with different people that background may not be you. 7th pillar, innovation, technology, and here we go again, AI. So very important. The 8th pillar, weekly leadership reading. We're going to show you some things that help you increase and move you forward. And then number 9, we're going to talk about reflecting back on what you read and how to journal that. And look at number 10, overcoming common barriers to reading. We're going to talk about our leadership statement and then our final thoughts on reading. Now, you can find all of this information on, we have a technical problem right now, so let me see if I can get it fixed. You can find all of this information on our website up under our blog, where you can go and download it or read it on your phone. But it's important that we provide you as much information as possible. And so why this matters, reading. Someone asked me that. Well, why does it really matter? We can, I've been doing this for this long and, I haven't had any problems. So why now? Why in this age and time now that you are saying this is so very important? Well, the one thing I was, again, technology at its finest is because the guide to design to help leaders read in purpose is for costly mistakes that we make too often. And some of the mistakes that we make too often is that we may think we're reading right quickly or scanning it, and guess what happened? It's not there. What we thought we saw, we really did not see. So that's one. What we thought we read, we did not read the fine print. So this helped you strengthen your decision making. It helped you expand your vision, because current information about your service that you provide or your product will help you not lose so much money, and it will also help you gain more customers. It helps you stay in compliance, stay ahead of the curve. People want to know what's the newest thing. How innovative are you with your technology? Even if you are using AI, is that AI talking, or is that you talking? It leads people to increase their wisdom and knowledge and conversations that you are having. Our objective is to provide this guide so that you can grow and thrive in this economy. And I think for me, that is so very important, that we provide you a show that you could grow and thrive in that show, and that you become the best of you. And so as we think about that, is how do we use this guide? Is it something you say, okay, it's another guide, something else I need to read? The answer is yes, because it's going to help you become the best you. And so I always say, folks, is that we have these objectives of what we want to say, what we want to do, how we want to lay it out. And so one of them is around core leadership and why that's important, and how your vision and your strategic thinking and your organization growth comes together in one. And so when you leverage that, think about it this way. You're getting ready to do a strategic planning, right? You bring everybody together, or if you're by yourself, You use me, myself, and I. And so you really want to think about what is that for our company. Typical people are doing strategic planning the year before or 3 years before and updating. You're thinking about what type of systems that you need to have in place. And you're looking at different types of systems to say, did this system work last year? Do we need another one? And is it working? Now, for us entrepreneurs, it's just us in the business, and it's me, myself, and I, me, myself, and I. I'm saying to you is you cannot continue running a business just one person if you want to grow where you want to. So let's think about, I want to grow. I need to grow. My desires to grow. So I may need to put in systems in order to give me time for me to do other things. And then you want to look at the organization itself and a model. It doesn't matter if it's just you. Do your organization chart for potential growth. Okay, I'm here, but guess what? I also need someone to answer the telephone. I need someone to do my finance. I need to have someone to help me do marketing. So I say, even if it's just you start out with just me. Do your organization chart for all the other staff that you would need, because that's going to drive you to order to work the business, increase the income so you can hire more staff so you can really perfect the business. And then think about other innovation or change agents or managements that may happen over that time. And so you always have to be in the process of what's new. Can Google send me alerts every day about my industry and what's happening in it so I can grow and thrive? And I think for me, that is so very important. You should be asking yourself that over and over again. Google, send me the updates for my industry. And if that could do that, I'm going to try to see what's going on with this slide, because it is supposed to be somewhere else and it's not. And we need to find out why it is popping up and not fix that. Because I think it says, say to exit for a slide. Okay, it says exit for a slide. Okay, Mark.
Hold on. You're going.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere.
To help you figure out what's going on.
Hold on.
Mark, if we can, yes. Say it looked like it's layered on top of one another. Can we figure out what's going on with that? Like there's two slides going at the same time. Do you see what I'm talking about?
No, because it's just one slide. There's one slide that we're seeing. We're not seeing two slides, so it might be on your end, but it's just one slide because right now it's on slide number 5.
Okay. Okay, then. Well, on my side, I see something different. Okay. See, y'all, that's what the good producer is about, to help you come in and say, hey, look, it's working. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark, because we want our audience to really get this. The next objective is to talk about faith, ethics, values, and leadership. And how does those values show up daily in your discussion? When you think about reading, and reading help you come up with affirmations for the day, or quotes for the day, or your faith-based scripture for the day. It helps you get grounded in your stewardship, and you also be thinking about how do they incorporate into your company. If it's just yourself, you may be doing biblical places. If it, but if it's a group of people, you may think about affirmations. So really think about what that needs to look like. How do you want to manage your company using faith, ethics, and value-based leadership? What comes to mind to me is the value of Chick-fil-A. Their Christian value to not be open on Sunday. You think about other fast foods that's open 24 hours a day, Sunday too, and you say, wow, how could they lose revenue? Well, to them, it's not about the revenue, it's about the value. You think about Hobby Lobby, it's not open on Sunday. So you start thinking about these companies that have values, and you say, you know what? My company is not open on Sunday, and that's my Christian value, and that's my belief. And so you work in all of that in order to grow your company, in order to have that time to think. And how does value show up in your daily decision? I read that question once. I wanted to make sure I say it again. And does your leadership reflect what you believe? And reading helps really. Some great books on leadership is out there that will walk you through what type of leader. And we're going to do a whole series on what type of leader you are and help you figure that out, because that's so very important. Our third one is financial literacy, sustainability. Now, we got to know where our money go and where we're getting it from. And do you understand your financial story? I said it's not statement, but story, because that makes a big difference. What is your financial story? Well, my financial story is I took a leap of faith 15 plus years ago to start a company. Now, since then, I've changed the name a couple times. I realized I had marketed myself and branded my name, Sharon Campbell, that when I had a company name, many people did not even realize that was my company. Because I'm a personal person, they knew me as Sharon Campbell. So then I said, okay, Sharon Campbell Solution Group, because I believe in finding solutions for my client. Then I thought about what Oprah did. She branded her show, the Oprah Winfrey Show. And you'd be like, the Oprah Show? Yes, the Oprah Show. Then we remember her first name, her last name, because that's what she wanted people to know who she was personal. So a lot of times, people that have a heartfelt, real personal, they end up people knowing them by their name. And so that was something I didn't realize during the time when I was doing branding, but I came to accept and appreciate the value of how people value my name and what I represent. And so that story of who I am helped me increase my financial portfolio. So whatever story you have, it has to help build your wealth in your company. And then learning. Now you don't have to know everything about QuickBooks or whatever financial software you use, or Wave, whatever, Peachtree, but you need to understand. You need to know what a budget is, how to forecast. You may not do it, but you need to understand it. What fundraising is, what the different type of revenue streams you have to have for a nonprofit, and being a good steward and being accountable is so very important. I tell you, be good steward of your money, of a God money or your high power money, because you want it to come back. You want not only to bless your company, but you want to be a blessing to everybody else that have helped you in your company, and money that you can be able to go in the community and help. And accountability. Make sure you're accountable for what you're spending, that you're not overspending or underspending, because one is the big hiccup as the other. You can underspend in marketing and your company will sink. You can overspend in marketing and your company could sink. So just know your numbers, be comfortable with them, talk to the person that's handling your books. Now, if you're using software, then go take your class to understand. It's not just pushing a button what does these numbers really represent? So very important that we understand our numbers, how they work, and always be looking every week at your financial report, starting out in your business, and then you can go to every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, once a month. But just being on top of that is so very important to grow a successful business. Number 4 is governance. It is how you govern, even if it's by yourself. Again, make the organization chart, because if you practice it early, it's going to happen. What is your board governance? For nonprofits, so very important. Compliance. Even with you being an individual, or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20, 30 or 100, compliance is very. Do you have any policy procedure? Are you doing what you say you're doing? Accountability. At the end of the day, are you accountable for what happened that day? The good, the bad, and the ugly. Knowing that you play a role. And for nonprofit, it is board development. For profit, it is, if you just 1 or 2 or 3, or just by yourself, it is write the roles down still and look at them. When I am working over here in marketing, and you say, it's just me. Have you clearly defined what that role is? Because one day someone else need to take that spot so you could grow your company. And if you haven't defined it and have tweaked and have make the adjustments in it, and then you bring someone else in, they maybe think, well, I think I should do it this way. You're like, no, it should be done that way. So that's why I say sometimes it's best when you start off yourself, you define all the roles, and then you just make adjustments. And then also people that come in that have an expertise, be a good listener, and then follow up with them so you will not lose the vision of your organization. Risk management. Put a plus, 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 plus. You must have a risk management. What is this? What is this? Understanding risk management. You don't have to know everything, but you do have to understand. I said, folks, you don't have to know it all, but understand what they're talking about when they talk about risk management. Make sure the roles are clear. If there's any complaints about your organization, address them then, not 2 or 3 weeks later. Go ahead on, address them. Go ahead on and do what you need to do, because the quicker you resolve the issue, the better it is. And find out the gaps. And you may say, well, what does that have to do with reading? Reading is going to teach you the best way to say it, do it, and execute it. I can tell you from leadership, some of the best information I receive is through reading. Having other people's views on how to answer a question is so important. Now, I tell you, there's some great little cheat sheets out on LinkedIn from different leaders that they put out there. What a leader, management, good leader, bad leader. Just encourage you, find some, follow them, get the information, because it's really great. Number 5, people, culture, and leadership development. Are you developing future leaders? You don't want to be the only one in your company that they have to go to all the time, unless it's just you. But then you still need to put someone aside that you could go to and that you can have a conversation with them. I can't stress this to you enough. You do not want to be the only one in your company that knows everything. I'm going to tell you why. People get sick, family issues, and I have a great one. Just think about what's going on in the economy now. Many people went to the Caribbean have a great time over there in the island. Beautiful time. And now they stuck over there because of what's going on. Flights being canceled. They can't get home. They're spending more money than what they thought. Thought they was going home this time. They still over there trying to get home. So the question I have, who's running the business? If you didn't bring your laptop, I was had to listen to some interviews for people that are stuck and say, you know what, if I would have bought my laptop, I could have worked. The big word, if I would have bought my laptop, which is so very important. That is a big word, if. Now they're trying to figure out, how do I get a laptop? That's another expense. So I can log in, try to figure out all of that. Some is like, you know what, we are spending so much money that was not in the budget. Now you think about cultural, right? Different people works different. Different nationalities works together. The United States of America, we are different in so many different ways, but it's a good thing that we invite different people in to the United States. That is great. You get new ideas, you get new way of thinking. You're able to market your company in different markets, but you got to know the culture. How do you do that? And I think sometimes we just want to go to another country, but we don't understand what that requires of us. How do we dress? How do we shake hands? How do we sit at the table? How do we eat? So many things go into that. So being a reader and a learner, you'll be able to read up on it, understand it, so you can really show other countries we appreciate the way you live, we value it. And the same goes to them coming to the United States. And I think that's what makes us such a wonderful United States. It's the fact that we embrace so many people, and people come from different walks of life. And we could think about it just in the United States. People come from different walks of life. You got urban, rural, city, country, north, east, south, west, Pacific. You think about, and all of us are different. All of us. But that's the great thing about learning each other. And you do that through talking to one another and respecting each other. You think about when you bring teams together and you have different cultures, it's about giving space to that so people can grow and to develop each other. It's about appreciating that person's accent because they're trying and they're doing a great job at trying, and you get to know that. Okay, and I think that's a beautiful thing. We also talk about a way of how people get their experience through leadership. Okay, so leadership development, they just don't happen. You start at a place and you educate yourself and you move up. See, leadership development is about moving up and across the board for yourself as well as the organization. That's taking classes, that's being in workshops, seminars, that's practicing, that's putting yourself in leadership role. That's about working in teams. It's about listening. It's about giving space to other people, and so that they can be heard. So there's a different thing between listening and being heard. And so you say, okay, I'm going to listen, and then I'm going to let you, and you don't have to answer everything. Everything is not required an answer. Sometimes it's time to say, you know what, after the meeting, I'll pull Sharon aside and we'll talk about that more in depth. I didn't understand, but it's not, I tell people, it doesn't take much to be kind. It takes a whole lot to be rude and disrespectful. Don't take that much to be kind, but it takes a whole lot to be rude. And so I'm going to encourage you as a leader is to embrace that kindness and show people your leadership, and that you can work with different people in different issues. And yes, sometimes things don't work out all the way, but always think about forgiveness, saying, I hear you, but what do you think about this point of view? Words matter, especially if you're in leadership. What you say, how you say it, your tone, all of that makes a difference. That says to us what we're going to do, how, and who's going to be with us. And so that is why I asked the question, are we developing future leaders? And if we're not, why or why not? Why are you developing them or why not? And do you even think it's important at all? Or are you afraid if you develop someone, they may take your job? That's why you're not going to do it. And then guess what? Something happened to you. You didn't develop anybody, and your company go under, your nonprofit go under. The company is missing a link. They got to try to figure out and play catch up. So we don't want to do that. We want to build leaders everywhere we go. In every area in our life, we want to pour into someone else what has been given to us. And that is what leadership is. That is what leadership developer is. And that is what great leaders do every day. We mentor people, we stretch people, we train them, we give them great feedback, and then we come back and say, how can I help you? What can I do to help you achieve your leadership thing? And one thing is providing great resources and books to read on leadership. Number 6. Now, innovation, technology, and AI. Now, what do you need to do to stay relevant? You cannot continue using the same tools you used 10 years, 5 years, 2 years in the past. Some will work, some will not. Now, AI is here to stay. It's a collection of data dumped into a big system that you have access to. How do you use it is the key. Use it for good or not. AI cannot replace Sharon. AI cannot replace you. AI needs your brain trust to accomplish what it needs to do. Someone has to feed it in. It doesn't work by sitting at the computer and not typing anything in. Someone must type something in. Someone must feed in correct information to get what you need back out. Correct? It is so important that we spend time reading about AI, go to classes on AI, understand what it is, and just think, oh, I got this. I'm just going to put this in, and it's going to give me what I want. Please read the fine print. It may give you something, but are you reading behind it? Are you asking the right questions? And I could go on through this whole show talking about that. But there's other technology out there. Do you have a CM with a system? Or do you have a software for this and a software for that and a software for this? But how you thought about bringing them all together to be more effective? Innovation. What are you doing different than the next person? You know, so many times people say, I can teach goal setting. Okay. Who else is teaching how to do goals? But is the way you are laying it out, teaching it, generating results? Is there something different about the way that you are showing it? Are you creating strategic plans and you love creating them? But is there a big market? Are you writing resumes and using AI and people thinking that you are generating these beautiful resumes? And really, you're using AI and then and giving them to them. So you got to think about all of that, because that makes such a big difference. Is I say, what does your digital portfolio look like? What are all the tools you have in your belt? And are you using all of them? You know, it's think about, do you really need to be on every platform? Do you even have the time to be on every platform? And if you want to be on everyone, how each one you have to do something different. So you set aside that time to do that. Yeah, something to think about. It is really an eye opener when you really sit down and start really digging deep into that. Um, Ask the question: are you behind the curve? Think about it. Mm, Let me think. We didn't update this system in a long time because it was working. It was like someone said, I have a phone, long as it's working and I can answer, it's fine. Okay. Now, how old is that phone? Okay. And why are you still taking these pictures? Well, they come out bad because the phone is X years old. Okay. The latest phone is not telling you to run about a good phone right now, but just think about it. I just want you to start thinking about that. Um, and is what you learning relevant today to solve an issue right now, today? I always keep saying, is what I'm doing, can it solve an issue for someone else? And how many others have the same problem? Because I have to find there's over 8 billion people in the world. Am I still just stuck in my community and wondering why I don't have more contracts? And I'm going outside my community to grow. Or if I'm afraid, fear, put in the time. Are you allowing money to be an issue? And that goes back to your budget. If you create a budget and look, I done tapped out my area, I need to go outside. And building relationships is so very important. Collaboration, showing up. Yes, you need to show up without asking first. Show people your worth before you ask. Because if you don't have to ask, is people know your worth. And so as we thinking about moving forward, what's next for us, think about weekly leadership reading. The vision that we have for you is that you spend 10 to 15 minutes per day reading something for understanding, whether it is a business book, self-help book, a history book, a spiritual book. Read something, but start off small. Now, for us that love to read, we're doing that. But you have to come up with, how is this going to empower not just myself, but others? A key takeaway from reading these 10 to 15 minutes per session is write down what it is that was the aha moment for you. What was that? What was that aha moment for you? Because that makes a difference. And then, what action are you going to take this week on what you read and implement it? And then think about reflection. Reflect on some questions or some categories of something you read that stood out in your mind. Take the time and reflect on it. We are not perfect, and no one is asking anyone to do that. We're asking for you to allow us to help you build your company by being part of the Plan to Prosper podcast show, and just taking the tools that we have going on our website, going to our blog, download. They are free to you. I really don't like the word free. I like to say investment. We invest in it. We create it. Now here it is, because we really, really, truly want you to learn. Be consistent every day to each one of these, and you will see how you change the way you look at making a decision, the way you think about strategic planning, the way you think about growth for your company, the way you make decision about what's next for you. And so little small steps add up. And so I want to start wrapping up with leaving you some questions I want you to think about. I would say for me, it is reflection questions. And I love to journal. I love to write when I'm reading. I think once I read something and I write it, it sticks with me and I can retain it. And so I'm thinking about what challenge my thinking. What would I read that would challenge me as I look at my business? So for myself, I read a business book. I read an affirmation book. I read my Bible. I read a fun book, a history book, and I always say that. And then I'm in part of several different reading clubs. So whatever they're reading, I'm reading with them. But I enjoy reading, and I made it a part of my life. So when I get up at 4:00 in the morning, yes, 4:00 Eastern Standard Time, I'm like, okay, let me get ready. Let me go sit in my reading nook and let me start my day. So it makes a difference. It reaffirmed my leadership instincts. I cannot tell you how much that reading helps me think about what I need to say before I say it. It helps me with my decision making and why I do something differently than someone else because of the knowledge and the information I read. And it aligns with my vision and my values. I read stuff that it aligns with what I do every day. It's a part of me. It's who I am. So I can move in different circles, whether I'm at business or I'm in the community, where I'm serving someone food, where I am helping someone figure out something, where I'm working with a group to grow their business. It just aligns. Everything is a part of me. It's every day. So I tell you, read what brings, make you a part of you, that brings the fullness of you out. And then I always ask, who else needs to learn this with me? And I start inviting people in. That's how reading groups come up. They're like, who else need to know this? And then they start inviting people in, and you get people from different parts of the world. You get people from different parts of the states, and you have such a vast wealth of knowledge, and you build relationships that way, and you build partnerships that way. Because people will say, "Oh, wow. Now, what did you do?" And they get to know you from your reading and the love for what you're reading, especially the history buffs. I'm a history person. I love to read people's biographies. And so I get in a group that we are doing that to discuss that, because you find out a lot about how they build, especially people that build business. Steve Jobs, great book, long, but it's a great book. You read about Oprah, Tyler Perry, Warren Buffett. You could just go on and on and on. They teach you so much. So that is a skill I would say is very important for us to learn, which is read about other people. Okay, how do you overcome these barriers to read? And I know so many folks ask me that. Okay, I want to do this, but how do I overcome bad habits? Well, one thing is, people always say, I just don't have the time. I always say, little small consistency makes a difference. 10 to 15 minutes, all of us have that. Yes, we do. Quiet time. Okay. Not sure what to read. Okay. Start with something for leadership. It can never go wrong. Read something on leadership. And that would definitely make a big difference. Past struggles with reading. Try the audio. Now, I'm not an audio person. Having something in my ear and people talking in my ear, and I've been on podcasts, I've been on shows, I'm doing workshop seminar. I want to read. Start something. You may just want to start something by just summarizing it. That may be something you say. Okay, I want to read this book. Let me read what it has to say, or a guide. Let's start small and build. Not a problem. Fear of growth. Um, Being challenged, your knowledge being challenged, that you got to be exposed to something different may be uncomfortable for you. I think that's so um, real. I know for myself, if I'm in a setting that I'm not used to, I feel uncomfortable. That is natural until I start talking to people, getting to know them, they get to know me, and then my comfort level. But it's like showing up somewhere and you don't know anybody. You The best way I thought about is this here. You're dating somebody and he wants to take you to see his parents and you never met his parents and he from a big family, okay? And you're like, okay, what I wear, what I say, what I do, you're like, okay, I'm out my comfort zone. But once you get there, start talking, what happened? You get at ease, you get comfortable. They didn't bite you. They didn't talk crazy to you. They loved on you. They show you how appreciative they are. And now you're comfortable and you're like, yeah, I can do this. This is great. That's what reading is about. It is like starting, getting comfortable, and said, wow, I can't wait to read that next book. Wow, I can't wait to learn something else new. This is great. And then it's like you want to tell everybody about the book you just read, you just had. So that is so very important. And we want to do a leadership commitment statement. And we thought about what that statement need to look like. So I'm going to read it to you. As a leader, I commit to lifelong learning because my vision, my people, my organization deserves to be informed, wise, and a prepared leader. Come up with your own statement for yourself. I think that having a statement for you that represents you is so very important. Reading is not all about how many books you read. Did you finish them? It's about applying your wisdom to what you read that's going to change your life or someone else. That's what I think reading is about. When I read, it improved me and someone else that I can share it with. I think very deep when I'm reading. I make more of an in-depth, wiser decision. It makes a difference. I leave stronger because I read a lot. And it helps me build a long lasting impact on my company and the community that I serve. Because when I serve them, it makes a big difference. I'm going to leave you this a parting thought. Read to learn and learn to last. Thank you so very much for our day. I really appreciate it. I cannot thank you so very much for allowing us to come into your home. Thank you, Mark, so very much for being our production person. I don't know what Plan to Prosper podcast show would do without you, but you're always on time and make the day a better day for us. And we hope we left you with something that inspired you. Go to our website, and download your information. Any departing thoughts, Mark?
No, I was just saying that was a great show. You definitely had some great information on that way with the presentation and all along those lines. I did wonder if you had read, because I saw an interview with him and I need to get his book, but apparently he's helping the Indiana college football team with his donations and everything. But apparently, if you get a chance, reading the life of Mark Cuban can be quite fascinating and everything like that. Because I've heard that there are some amazing things that he's written recently, and I know that he's supporting his alma mater, which is Indiana University, as they're going for the national football championship and all along those lines. But I did watch an interview with him on TV where he was sharing a lot of his life lessons learned, including living in a cramped apartment when he was first going into business, all along those lines. So he shares a lot about the trials and tribulations that he had to go through as he became an entrepreneur. And we know he's a very successful entrepreneur, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and has a number of other business ventures as well, and was definitely involved in the computer space as well. But it was just one of those books that I think people should read if they haven't picked it up. But I am a fan of Mark Cuban, a fan of the gentleman that had did the book Pursuit of Happiness, which was about his struggles and all along those lines and everything like that. So those are two books that I would definitely urge people to read. And like you said, I've also got in my biography collections the biography of Ted Koppel, and I think I've got the biography of Diane Sawyers as well.
Oh yeah! Oh wow! It makes a difference to let you know those are the same people, and read and help them get to where they was at. And so
Yeah.
that is what the show is about. Well, Mark, we will see everyone next week,
Yes.
Wednesday at 6:00. Mark and I'll be here.
Yes.
So we want to make sure. So he has some books that he could share. I have some, and it's all about that.
Yep.
Mark and I both say thank you so very much, and we can't wait for next week. Mark, bring some more of your books to share about reading.
I'll bring some more books to share, because there's definitely some books that I read, some that are in my book collection, like you said, and I'll bring some of those. I've even got I don't know if you got this, but some people will have like Yelp reviews of their favorite restaurants, but I have a book catalog system that I use to catalog the books that are in my catalog, but they also let you provide a review as well. So I know that I belong to a couple of things like Goodread, which definitely let you put comments on your books and all along those lines. I have a book catalog system as well that lets you comment on other books, and they also see what your friends are reading as well. But yeah, I'm a big fan of reading, and it is more than fundamental, as they used to say on the old PBS show, and all along those lines. But it is very important, and I'm glad that you're bringing up this notion of how important it is for our business leaders. But yes, I'll have some other books that I can share next week as well.
Well, you know what, Mark? Then you're going to be my guest next week, and we're going to talk about reading. I tell folks, if you want to build your company, start reading. And I'm glad you said about Mark Cuban, because it does. You be like, and he still read a lot.
Yeah, he still reads a lot, and a lot of these people read a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of Elon Musk, but I know Elon Musk reads a lot, and I know a number of other people that are considered our leaders read a lot. Even the founder of Jet, Mr. Johnson, when he was living, he read a lot. So reading, when you find out, matter of fact, I was just talking yesterday, this coming Monday, so it'll be a couple of days after our show, is a celebration of Dr. King. And one of the shows on this network, it was actually St. C Academy, the Mama Noni show, and everything. She was reflecting on a book herself, because she was reflecting on where are we going now, which is one of the books of Martin Luther King and everything like that. And people forget that was one of his books, along with the letters from Birmingham jail and a number of other things. But as we get ready to celebrate Dr. King's life, and as we get ready to celebrate even other civil rights leaders like Julian Bond and Malcolm X and a number of others, you can go out there and find their work still out there, even many years after they have passed, and all along those lines. Because I have been on my show earlier today, I was talking about how much my grandmother impacted my life, and she passed away in 82. But if you've ever been to Raleigh, you know that there is a African-American library that has just recently celebrated being around for, I think, about 60 years or something like that. But that was the Richard B. Harrison Library, and my grandmother actually founded that library, and they have a whole collection named after her. And last month they did an award ceremony that they'll be doing annually to celebrate her legacy and all along those lines. But she's definitely one of my mentors. So one of my mentors was a librarian, both at Richard B. Harrison, and she did some library work at Stanford B. Warren here in Durham. But she founded the Richard B. Harrison Library. So she actually founded that library
Oh,
and
wow.
everything like
And
that.
I go there a lot, and I'm telling you, it makes a difference.
Oh yeah, it makes a
And
difference.
it's inside the community. It's
Yeah,
in the
it's
community.
inside. It's right there inside the community. If you go there, you will see the Molly Houston Lee collection, and that is my grandmother. So if you've been there in that library and you see that collection,
Wow.
that is my grandmother.
Hey, audience, you see there, even Mark understand the power. And so we'll be back next Wednesday, and we're going to continue sharing you the power of reading and how his grandmother influenced him. And we want to influence you. And
Exactly.
we're going to, and Mark, we're going to have them to say, hey, look, go find and say how you can check this book out.
Exactly.
If you're in Raleigh.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can go find some books. But we're going to get on out of here. This was a
Okay.
great show, and I'm glad you were talking about the importance of reading, because I am a big fan of teachers, a big fan of librarians, and reading is very fundamental, as you were saying. Some of my good friends now, like Andre Van, who is the archivist at North Carolina Central University, and Carter Q, who is the librarian at Stanford B. Warren, are people that are in my friend and acquaintance circles that are definitely important to me and everything. So I definitely am a big fan of libraries and librarians, even to this day. Not just my grandmother who's passed, but even living librarians that are out there now. So go to your friendly library and see what books they may guide you to and everything like that. Not knocking video games. I know that my nephews play those video games and everything like that, but they also go to the library on occasion as well. So on that note, we're going to get on out of here. It's been a fun show, and I've thoroughly enjoyed having you do this great show that you do every week. So right now, let's get on out of here.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you